All right, everyone, thanks so much for listening to another episode of Full Body Cast Presents. A special episode,
to the greatest
part 2
of the greatest.
of the
A
Dad How Do
podcast
I.
that you never knew
No, it's I've got my Uncle Rob here. We talked on the last episode kind of how he grew up
you
just
have
a tad.
never met,
There's a lot in his
or
book.
maybe
We'll
you
check out his
have
book if
once
you wanna
or
do that.
twice.
But we also talked about some of my memories,
Asking questions
as well as some
and
of the
knowing
ins and outs
more
of his
than you want to
YouTube
know
page
about
that
them.
kind of caught fire during the pandemic.
You are listening
and
to Full Body Cast.
We also asked some listener questions. So,
What's up?
I just had a big breath there.
This is something we probably should have talked about off the air, but I'm willing to give away a book if you want me to one of your listeners. If
Yes.
you want me to do that,
Yes.
I can sign it for
You
him.
can sign it.
Yeah.
I'll sign it too. Let's all sign it. I'll write my chapter like I mentioned in the first one, and I'll sign the bottom. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. So we'll do a little bit of a giveaway there. We can figure that out. And then we kind of talked about how your videos are concerning. They're there to teach you. They're not there to entertain.
Right.
And I have an idea. This is my $1 million idea. Okay. And I feel like a true dad. How do I? You're very calm in your conversation, teaching them how to do these things, right? Mm-hmm. Now, typically, if a dad's telling you how to do something and you're not quite getting it, there is a point where the frustration gets a little bit more rough.
Yeah.
And they repeat the same thing as if you can't hear them, but they say it louder, as if you're having a tough time hearing them. You hear them. You just can't figure out what they're trying to tell you. So they say it louder again, and then they may bang their thumb on with a hammer. There's frustration. Maybe they lose a screw that keeps falling off the end of the drill bit. Stuff goes on, right? And I guess if you thought maybe doing a Dad, How Do I? And then as that project got more and more, rough, if you could start shouting and yelling and maybe throwing a hammer or two. Have you thought about that yet?
Yeah, maybe I will do that. Maybe an alter ego or something comes out. Dang it. How come you're not getting it?
I said 5/8.
So here's my theory on it. Here's my theory on why dads get crabby.
Okay. Oh, I like this.
Because I think that maybe they don't know what they're doing. And so I think that they're processing while they're doing stuff. And I've been there where you're trying to think it through yourself and also explain it because you want to include your kid.
Right.
And so I think, you don't necessarily have the best equipment when you're trying to do a job as a typical dad. You're not going to have everything that you need to complete the job.
Get it done.
And so you're a little frustrated. Plus you're at work and you got other things you'd rather be doing, but you need to do this. And so I think that all adds to the frustration for everybody, unfortunately, honestly, because I think if somebody is a professional mechanic and they've changed brakes, on a daily basis for the last year, and they brought their kid in to show them, I don't think they'd be angry because they know what they're doing, right? Where I think the dad is just kind of, trying to work his way through it and kind of a little bit frustrated in his own knowledge. I guess I can only speak for myself. That maybe, dang, I wish I knew more about this.
Yeah.
And, so anyway.
Yeah. So do you have trademarks in place for Dad, How Do I? So then someone couldn't jump on there and be like, okay, guess what I'm creating? Frustrated Dad, How Do I? And then, where someone like, okay, listen, you obviously are playing off my channel. Do you have those things in place?
I do have a trademark on Dad, How Do I? Okay. But there's a never-ending amount of money you could spend on trying to protect every single avenue that people could take it, and so that's difficult, and I've learned that the hard way too. That you can't protect every possible way somebody could use it. And even, there's a lady that tried to capitalize on what I was doing. And, she came up with her own channel with a play on I don't even want to give a shout out to her name, but you can probably figure out who it is.
Right.
But anyway, and right when my channel went viral, she jumped in and said, "Hey, you've met Dad. I'm Mom." She's not Mom. She's not my wife. And so it was a little disappointing that she first didn't reach out to me. And second, tried to capitalize on it. And I think she has found that, going back to the last episode where we talked about how much money, YouTube's making the money.
Right.
I'm here to tell you, they're the ones making the money on my content. It isn't me.
Right.
And I think she probably found out that this isn't as lucrative as maybe I thought it was going to be. So I don't think she's posted in like 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Because
She kind of fell off.
I think she realized, this isn't a moneymaker. It takes some time. You
Right.
and I got to put up. I'm trying to put up a video every week. And I got other things going on. I'm fairly busy with other things.
Sure.
And so, anyway, just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, well, don't rip him off because he ain't fighting you, but you're not going to make any money off of it.
That's the moral of the story.
Big internet rumor, not just the rumor that mom is not your actual wife.
Right.
Did that make Aunt Annalie like, who is this lady?
She didn't. And even Christine said, Dad, don't worry about her.
Yeah.
She'll go away. And sure enough, it's kind of happened that
Gone
way.
away, okay.
Yeah, because, people want the legitimate, and she was illegitimate,
Yeah.
so to speak.
So this meme makes it around. There's a Chicago man. Father left. Now he's teaching kids. Chicago.
Yeah,
You're not in Chicago.
right.
Do you do you want to keep that rumor going that you're still, so people kind of like leave you alone up here in Washington?
Yeah.
People just driving around Chicago trying to find you.
Yeah. I don't, actually, I've had a few people recognize me here. And it wasn't just Enumclaw, like for you,
Travis Kennedy's uncle.
Hey, isn't that Travis? Yes. At the airport, I was getting on a plane and this guy came up to me and, hey, I said, Harry said, I know this is a weird question, but are
you Scott Van Pelt?
Yeah. I don't look like that guy. Better looking than Scott Van Pelt. So it was kind of cute but awkward, and then we ended up taking a picture together and stuff. He was pretty touched by it. But anyway, where was I going with that? I don't
we were
remember.
talking about how Chicago.
Oh yeah, so Chicago. So so it's actually okay, and I think what happens. So you talked about this earlier too, about people using, and my face being everywhere, and people writing articles and stuff without even talking to me. I was on early on, and me, I'm a bit of an introvert, and so I was a nervous wreck the night before I was on a Chicago. It was an internet TV station back in April. So just a few weeks after my channel started, and it started to get some recognition. Anyway, so I was on a Chicago, and I think people put 2 and 2 together and just assumed I was from Chicago because I was on a Chicago TV show early on.
And that was kind of your first.
It was my first
viral, in a sense, moment, or they caught you at the very beginning of your viral.
Yes, right. Before it went viral, and then they probably saw that interview, and it's a Chicago man, and so yeah.
So how did they find out about you?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know where people and how it all. It's so amazing how quickly it happened. Suddenly there was, at the end of May that year in 2020. Right after it kind of went viral, it's like, man, there's articles everywhere. You Google my name and my face is
CNN,
everywhere. And
USA Today,
oh my goodness,
everywhere. Yeah.
So some of them interviewed me. I interviewed with CNN. I interviewed with USA Today. I interviewed with People Magazine, AARP. I did a lot of interviews, but there were a lot that were also just taking information from other interviews. Yeah.
I think my mother-in-law took a picture of the AARP article that they had and sent it to Jamie and me. We're like, is this Travis's uncle? Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to Vegas here end of September because Hawaii got canceled.
I heard that people don't want.
My mom is
to
still.
Hawaii.
We can talk about this. My mom, and she's my mom and you. I'd like to talk about that at some point.
Sure.
Because here's someone else thrust into your life that you didn't grow up with in a sense, and now all of a sudden that she's your caretaker, so to speak, for the time, maybe making some meals and picking you up from school. I don't know if were you riding a bus? Were you walking and all that?
I was riding a bus. Yeah. So we were in a trailer park in over near Eastgate. and that trailer park gone now. They replaced it with apartments. But yeah, so I used to walk to the bus. I was on the outskirts of my school district. I probably really should have been going to Issaquah. But your parents kind of lived over there by Eastgate. And so, yeah, so I would walk pretty far to this bus that would take me to Sammamish.
So with my mom, was there any teenage boy with an authority figure in a sense where it was rough? I mean, was there any like attitudes, so to speak, between the two?
Yeah. I mean, that's to be expected, though. Nothing that I hold a grudge over or anything. We butted heads at times, but you also got to remember, we were in an 8x35 trailer. It was an upgrade to move into the trailer that you were, or the mobile home you were in. And I remember when they bought that, and I lived in that for a little bit before they moved it out to Ravensdale. But I don't know. Nothing that you would go, that's weird, because it was just, you get on people's nerves, even when you're around your family and you just pretty soon you're going stir crazy and you know.
I feel like if anything has ever, like not social media, reality TV has done is shown that if you're on an island with people, if you're in a close proximity, locked in an area with people, there's going to be, I mean, they know that that's what creates drama. People are going to get on each other's nerves and this and that.
Yeah.
But I know that the picture my mom talks about, because she'll get shared. Has she shared this with you?
I don't think so.
So sometimes these web pages or whatever you want to call them, I don't know. I mean, I'm an old guy now. It's an internet thing. But TV shows, they'll have the picture of you and my mom and my dad. And I think picture was taken at church. It was like a church picture where they would do the family photos every one Sunday a year. And I remember my mom is great. I love her. She's going to listen to this, but she always does kind of like in the back of her mind overthink about how things could be perceived. She used to ask about like, hey, what did, when I have my buddy Eric spend the night, hey, the dining room table was a little bit dirty. Did he say anything? I'm like, we're teenage boys that have like clothes everywhere in our room. We don't care. We don't look at that. But it was really bothering my mom. And she's great and I love her. But with that said, I remember she was saying about how she remembers picking out, I don't know if it was the outfit or her hair or something, and she thought, well, who's ever going to see this picture? Who's ever going to see this picture? And then she wasn't completely comfortable with that picture, and then all of a sudden, it's everywhere, like 30 years later, 20 years later, right? So anyway, so I do find that pretty funny that my mom as many times as she's overthought things, she was actually right about that one. And then she talked herself out of it. No one's gonna watch. No one's gonna look at this.
Well, I have to say something about that picture too. One thing I appreciated about your mom and dad when I moved in with them, and your mom probably especially, because my dad, or your dad, was my brother, right? And so he kind of not had to, but he had to include me, kind of, I guess, because he's my brother. Where your mom, it was different, I try to look at, again, as an adult, look back on the situation from different people's perspectives, and what was it like to all of a sudden you have a kid going through puberty moving in with you in an 8x35 trailer, right? My heart goes out to her,
right?
So it was difficult, I think, for all of us. But she, I think she did the best she could. And so one thing I was going to say about that picture is the fact that they always included me. I really appreciated that, because it would have been easy to just go, oh, we just want a picture with just me and me and Rick for the church thing. But no, they included this awkward turtle, coming in, 15-year-old in the background. What's he doing there? And it was a different time. So that was it was unique at that time that I was living with my brother and his wife. Yeah. Right. But they always included me, and I'm very appreciative of that.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then, but you're not You're not in Chicago. I know we're bouncing all over the place. Oh wait, no, what was I going to say about? Okay, here's what I'm going to say about my mom. Okay, because we got going on like how do we get here?
Yeah.
We were talking about AARP, and then immediately we're talking about my mom.
I don't know.
It was because we're going to Vegas. We're going to go to Vegas, and because we had to cancel our Hawaii trip, and and my mom's been, and I both we've been looking forward to this thing for 2 years. My dad helped work on someone's helped on their garage, I think, building their garage, and the guy had a place out in Hawaii. Said, "Hey, we're going to pay you this way if you want, 2 weeks," and it was like, "Yeah, absolutely, that sounds great." Well, now Hawaii is just like, travelers don't come. If you do come, no beach access. No one can congregate on the beach at all. They're shutting things down. You got to eat in a restaurant with your mask on. So it's just like the airplane, So a lot of it's like, well, why are we going to Hawaii? If you're not going to be able to enjoy Hawaii and go to places that you normally would want to go, you're going to be just sitting in a condo the entire time. So we canceled. And we immediately booked Vegas.
That's not like you. Have you ever been to Vegas?
This month? No. Anyway, so we're going then. So super excited about that. All right, so we squashed the Chicago rumor.
There's another rumor too.
Oh, what's that?
I thought that's what you were going to talk about.
No.
There was a rumor saying that I left my son. And I created this channel so that I could somehow show him what to do, even though I left him or something.
Really?
Yeah. So it's weird how people will come up with strange stuff. Yeah. Which is unfortunate. So, and I addressed it in one of my videos, but it's like, you know what? If you keep addressing it, then it's like, I don't want to make it a thing, but it's stupid that people, pass on information. That's the whole rumor thing. People pass on information when they don't know what they're talking about. So disappointing.
Very disappointing. That's crazy.
I'm so disappointed.
So disappointed right now. And coming from a dad.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm so disappointed in that person.
Have you had anybody dealing with, like, not saying, I know you enjoy people interacting, but have you had anyone become a super fan yet? Have you had anyone that has just been like messaging you, trying to get a hold of you? Hey, or and how do you handle that?
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I don't want to. I appreciate the fact that people, and I've tried to be accessible to as many people as possible. I'm on your, thing. So.
Dumb thing.
Yeah. This little old thing. I've tried to be accessible to anybody and everybody because one thing I've learned is people are just people. Some of the people I've talked to Justin Baldoni. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. He's an actor. Jane the Virgin, I think, is the name of kind of what kind of catapulted him. But then he's since written or he's directed and stuff. And he reached out to me early on, and I kind of we got a little bit of a friendship going. He just wrote a book himself, and then Drew Shirley from Switchfoot. So these people are just people, they're you got to respect the fact that they're in the position they're in because they've done something to get there, and that's the whole thing. But really, they're just people as well.
Have you said Kevin Hart? Has anyone else reached out that you just weren't able to book at that moment just because you were already busy or had prior commitments and kind of got, had to push it off? Or? Yeah.
So you mentioned the Ellen show.
Yeah,
so early on when everything went viral, I was approached by the Ellen show. I was approached by the Kelly Clarkson show. And then I had to get a manager at that time because I was like, I can't field all these questions. So I hopped on with this one manager, and they kind of vetted things, and then they decided to give the exclusivity to the Today Show. And that's how I ended up on the Today Show. Yeah. So who knows if that was the right decision or not. And then the Drew Barrymore show has actually reached out to me too. And then my book publisher said, we would rather you not go on the Drew Barrymore show for now because we don't want to pass up opportunities, when your book comes out and stuff. I kind of regret that because she was a big fan. Drew Barrymore reached out to me and said, I'm a big fan of this guy, and so I regret the fact that I think it was overthinking.
Yeah.
Speaking of overthinking, I think
Yeah.
my publisher overthought that one. Because I said, and I even wrote back to the person that was trying to connect me with Drew and said, hey, I'd be happy to come on the show, but can I also come on the show when my book comes out? And she said, oh, yes, we'll have you back on for sure. And then, I wasn't able to get on the Drew Barrymore show because I wasn't, anyway.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be on it and then be on it twice. And so maybe in the future I'll be on the show with her.
Yeah. Kind of cool.
Yeah. She seems pretty cool,
Yeah,
pretty
down to
normal.
earth. Yeah.
Right. I mean, pretty real.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to show because people, and I think with Facebook and with everything, people put their best foot forward. Maybe not you, but
No, not me.
other people were,
I put my worst. I always feel it's a sales tactic. You under promise and over deliver. If I put my worst foot forward, then when someone actually meets me, they're like, "This guy's actually pretty enjoyable."
Yeah, that's actually smart.
Yeah. So because I've learned, you don't meet your heroes, but if you meet your zeros, then you love them.
Yeah.
So there you
Right.
go.
Oh, that makes
Put that on a
sense.
T-shirt.
Yeah, I like it.
With who was your most nervous you've ever been to meet interview?
For me,
For you, where you were like thinking to yourself, because I've seen you handle yourself. I've watched these couple times. You can tell the voice kind of wavers just a little bit because you could tell the nerves.
Yeah.
But then you work through it. And I was gonna say today's show was the one was it Good Morning America? I don't know. It was one of the first ones. It was like, wow, you're gonna be in front of billions of people watching you right now.
yeah.
What one was your most like didn't get any sleep?
That was the Chicago one.
That was just
honestly.
the little
Isn't
Chicago
that so
one?
stupid?
That's
I know.
so dumb.
Well, but but Travis, I think for you've always kind of liked to get up in front of people.
I do
Imagine
not,
that.
I do not like attention.
See, that's not my thing.
Right.
I've never coveted that. I've never wanted to, if I could just get them and dazzle people. No,
Yeah.
that's not my thing. And so I was a nervous wreck. I don't, I've never really enjoyed giving a speech or that sort of thing. I think I've kind of gotten over that a little bit just because of all the interviews and stuff. Now
Right.
I've kind of gotten to where I don't overthink it because I've done enough of them. It's just one of those things through repetition, you kind of get comfortable.
Right.
But yeah, so I would honestly say it was the Chicago one and plus they told me I was gonna have to show how to tie a tie too. I'm like, what if I forget?
Did you watch your own video to just kind of refresh your memory?
I did. Yeah, there's a guy that I want.
Well, so let's talk about this. Let's get deep. Ready to get deep?
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna deep for a moment.
Yeah.
So I took the Myers-Briggs, whatever, right? The IECS. I'm actually an introvert, believe it or not.
What?
Isn't that crazy? I recharge by being by myself, whether it's video or few people, video games, movies, just being by myself. And a lot of the podcasting is me being by myself because I've got to edit it, I've got to post it, I've got to listen to it. So I've got to, I'm interviewing people, talking to people, and that's fun for me. I enjoy it, but I recharge by just kind of, it's like, this is like tinkering in the garage by myself kind of a thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I also created, and I'll say this till the day I die, I created a Travis Kenny goofball in like 5th or 6th grade. The Travi, and it was because Travis wasn't getting the chicks, and Travis wasn't getting picked to be a part of groups. And Travis, and I realized I need to be fun. I need to be a positive attitude. I need to be smiley. I need to hold court. I need to be in people's faces a little bit, and be goofy and funny. So I created this like Travi guy. Came from a nickname from my Uncle Wayne and Aaron and Craig, and then it kind of went into where then you and Uncle Don.
We still call you
Travi
now.
or Foffy. Yeah. Foffy was another thing for a while from Foffy Wants Coffee.
Foffis. I think that's where it came from, right? When you tried to say your name.
Say my own name, yeah. Foffis. But no, I still go by King of Cool Street. But and so I created this character. So when the character gets rejected, it doesn't hurt me. Right? It's like, oh, there's rejecting the big idiot Travis. I know Travis is annoying. I know Travis is a big idiot. And then you get into weirdness later on in life where you've created this character, and then you start to realize, wait, do people really like me? Or do they just like how I make them feel? Or and do they really, if they really knew the big idiot doofus that I really am, would they still be my friend? And I think everyone maybe hits that at some point, probably approaching middle age, when their looks start to go down, and they're
What are you saying?
Well, not you,
Okay.
me. And so it's like, is it does my wife only find me attractive because she's married to me? Is that why? You get into the weird overthinking Kenny. This is the Kenny trait.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that said,
Okay.
I'm building it up.
This is a
I'm building
big lead in.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think? No.
I think you need some help.
That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt. He's rejecting the Travis that I created. That didn't hurt me at all. But no, are you the genuine? And I'm asking you this, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you the genuine Dad? How do I guy? Are you a character at this point? Have you lost? I know, and I know the answer.
Yeah.
Because I know you. But do you feel you have an identity crisis at times? And my kid tried walking in at the most deepest point of time. So do you have an identity crisis at all, or are you the same person, and so it's not that big of a deal?
I think I'm the same person. Obviously I can get crabby just like anybody else, and so I'm not going to include that in my videos. But I do try to remain calm. I've tried to walk alongside my own kids. I think you know me well enough that
Right.
I have. When I built my fence, I tried to include my kids, and tried to include them with anything that I did. And when I'm on my channel, I'm trying to talk to the camera like I'm talking to my own kids. And obviously I'm not going to include everything, but I try to include the best of how I did try to teach my own kids. So I think there's obviously, because Christine, we've talked about that before. And one thing that's a little tricky too is my relationship with my own kids now too. I don't want to make it seem like I got a canned answer because I'm the dad how do I guy. It's tough so you got to walk that. Dad's different because he just gives me a canned answer now.
Right.
I don't want that. I want and I've said this before that means the world to me, my relationship with my kids. And so if this thing ever got in the way of that, I'd shut it down.
Yeah.
That's more important to me.
Okay.
So trying to be real and keep that relationship real.
That's good.
Yeah.
And now when you talk about your canned answers, I know you edit from a free app from your phone, so I don't know if you're able to take clips and store them or if they don't allow that. But do you have a blooper reel at all? And have you released any, or are you planning on releasing any?
So no.
How about no?
How about no? I don't know. I do keep it all.
Okay.
I keep everything. Yeah, because I think at one point it might be kind of fun to look back at this time in my life where my life was turned upside down.
Yeah.
So.
We're gonna get deep for a moment.
Okay.
Okay.
You keep saying we're getting deep and nothing.
Well,
I haven't started crying yet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I got tissues over there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna talk for a moment. We're gonna see if this even hits the cutting room floor or. Okay. Big thing, big life-changing events. Those happen. People die. People get divorced. Families change. New job. Life-changing events, and sometimes when it rains, it pours. And a few years back, I was going through a divorce, and my grandpa, your dad, the one that gets referred to, passed away. And then in the book, you'll hear about, like you said, that the story wasn't over when he walked out the door. Right.
Yeah.
So there was a reconciliation at later in the life.
Yeah,
Would you?
yeah, well, he asked for forgiveness. The sad thing is, my relationship with my dad, even after he forgave, or after we kind of moved on from it, it was always kind of superficial. Which that's not something I want from my own kids.
Gotcha.
I want them to feel like they can tell me anything.
Okay.
And I didn't get that with my own dad.
Well, the thing that I was going through a divorce that, was, for the most part, I was the one that finally pulled the trigger on it. Me and my former wife were friends. We talk. We obviously co-parent. It's been 6 years-ish of being separated and divorced, finalized, and all that. So then my grandpa passes away, and you see his whole life kind of laid out in an instant, through where they play the music, and they have the pictures, and and he also had 2 wives. He had 2 families, so to speak. I, growing up on the Kenny side, only saw the Kenny aspect of that and heard the Kenny stories of that. And it wasn't just some, quick story. There's a lot. So when he passed, we saw I saw a snapshot of his life. And one thing I didn't like was the editing portion. There were some edited points, going through his stuff, or maybe people getting stuff, mailed to them. And so all this to say, I don't know why this is the therapeutic part. For me, I realized that I couldn't, as I'm going through this divorce and things are getting separated of, property and miscellaneous things, I kept things that probably a typical person that was divorcing someone would be like, this is all trash now. And I realized that one day I'm going to die, and Matt and Megan and Kane are going to go through my bins, and are they just going to see everything erased from like 2016 and before, just kind of erased? There's going to be this like blob of nothing. And that was a big part of their life, right? So Madden was 12 and Megan was 10, 11, and Kane was about 7 or 8. So it's like that first part was just like, that's preseason. We're not going to listen. We're not going to think about preseason. We're in the regular season now. And I didn't want that. So I kept wedding pictures. I kept pictures of the good times, going to the beach as a family, those good times. I did not want to make it look like, it was just this horrendous downpour cloud of dark, and we just finally broke free into the blue skies. Because I wanted them to get the full picture, and I wanted them, they have their stories to tell too. And that's what I didn't want to edit their own story. And I know that we've got our relatives that they have their own story during that time as well. And you're not looking to tell their story. You're just looking to tell your story. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think that thing really spoke to me, was that as much as we want to be the narrator of our own story, you kind of can't. You know, it's selfish for me to go, Matt and Megan and Kane, those first few years, that was rough. And we're not going to talk about those. We're going to talk about how, so, gosh, I don't know where I was going with this.
Well, let me say, if I can just chime in and let you maybe
figure out what I'm trying to say.
Wonder where you're going with it. But
Holly's couch.
I think that's actually real mature, Travis. Because I think that's it's been a little bit of a struggle when I was writing the book with sharing my story, because this is my story.
Right.
I lived it.
Right.
I lived the fact that my dad left and we were just fending for ourselves for a time. I think it'd be different if I was the neighbor kid writing a story about the Kennys that live next door. Right. I lived this, and there were some lonely times when my dad wasn't there and my mom wasn't there, and I'm walking to school and just trying to cope, trying to do the best I can. I share the story in my book of not wanting to rock the boat, and this bully came up and walloped me in the back of my head, and I didn't do anything about it. I regret that to this day. I know the kid's name, and I'm going to hunt him down. Okay, I don't think he's a kid anymore, but. But but part of that was, man, I didn't want people to know. I didn't want people to know that I'm living in this dysfunctional world right now.
Right.
Other people got worried about where they're going to eat lunch. I'm worried about crap. What next?
Right.
What's the future look like? So, and I've tried to, in the book, I tried to paint people in the best light possible, because I think you can always take some bad stuff. You can meet people and go, I don't want to do that, or I can go, okay, but this is a great quality I'd love to have from that person. And so I tried to do that in my book, where I shared good qualities that I've learned from my siblings, that I would like to pass along to people, and because I think that's a good way to live your life. Is you go, man, I really admire that about that person. I'm going to try to incorporate that in my own life. Yeah. So anyway, I was just saying that I think it is important, and I'll share a little tidbit too. So when my dad retired, maybe you know this, I don't know, but when my dad retired from Boeing, we went up, for his celebration, and there was a slideshow. Speaking of, so there's a slideshow, and you saw, my dad as a younger man and with his family, and then, you see this kind of happening, and then boom, it's just him and they're flying off, and it's like, what happened? Anybody paying attention would go, what happened to the kids? The kids are not a part of this anymore. So, and it's my life,
Right.
So it's like, that's why I guess I go back to the fact that your mom and dad, I appreciate the fact that they included me, because there's times where it's like, where do I fit in this world?
Sure.
Nobody really wants to acknowledge that I exist, and so that was, so I appreciate the fact that they did include me. And that's important, like I said, for your kids to understand that, it wasn't a mistake there, and Jamie's awesome too.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think very highly of Jamie. I think she's done a good job of also because that's different. One of the things I probably shouldn't have mentioned her name, but my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
My stepmom, I should say. Yeah. She never really was a mom.
Yeah.
My wife's mom, I've called her mom pretty much since we got married, or even before, because she's very motherly and she's very accepting and love her to death, and I think Jamie's done a good job with your kids, making sure that they're included, and I think that's very important.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I know that Jamie does. She always enjoys hanging out with you and hanging out with the family, and then also hearing that, because I know that it's always uncharted territory when you meet someone, and I think her first meeting of everyone was my dad's celebration of being leukemia free, and I think we all had buffs from like the Survivor, and I think
I made those.
You made those,
Mm-hmm.
You and Anna Lee sewed them up and printed them.
Yep.
And then so that was the first time she's meeting everyone, and then we all go to.
And right away we could tell that she was a better athlete than you. We did pick up on that, like right from the get-go. It was pretty obvious.
Immediately accepted. You know what? Old Travis is crying inside. But you know what? The character Travis is like, they're not rejecting me. Actually, no, wait, old Travis. That's different. Actually, I think personality-wise, you can take that rejection and go, it's just personality. But when it comes to actually physical, that actually is a knock on created Travis character and also old Travis. You can't change that. You can't change the physical aspect. But anyway, So did you feel like we got deep there at that point?
We did. We got a little deep, because life gets a little messy with things, and I think at times we can gloss over things and just go, and put our best foot forward. But you do got to kind of deal with, a lot deeper things like that. And I think going back to my dad and being superficial, I could never talk to my dad about anything really deep, because part of it was, the fact that he left, and it would have been nice to actually talk to him about that.
So who were your mentors? I mean, I know that you'll say my dad taught you a few things here and there, but who was the one that you really looked up to then?
Your dad.
Was it?
Yeah, your dad. He taught me quite a bit of stuff. One thing that was a little tricky with some of the stuff is, he's my brother,
right?
Also, and my guardian, and so, going to him to everything wasn't always easy. But that was more me. It wasn't because he made me feel stupid or anything, And so I learned a ton from your dad.
Okay.
Yeah, he taught me. I learned how to tie a tie from my roommate, Bruce. He was always very meticulous about how he looked and stuff, and so he's the one that told me to pay attention to the knot that made it into my video. And it is true, though, as you're building the tie, you got to kind of pay attention to the knot as you're building it. But so I've learned a little bit here and there, and I'll also learn, just by being dumb and asking questions, not knowing. Go to Home Depot and just start picking people's brains, and you find out they don't know much either.
Right.
And then so you just kind of learn through your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wore out. You need a nap.
I'm good. I had my McCafe coffee on my way in, so
that's good. I'm checking to see if there's any other questions that came to us. No questions for this one from any of the listeners. That's fine. We did it on the first one. So I squashed the rumor. You asked, how did you like kind of looked at my equipment and said, hey, this is pretty something else. So let me give you a quick.
How did I? Travis, how did I?
How did I?
Okay.
So started the podcast with just a laptop. I bought a USB microphone that I thought worked the entire time. It didn't. I was just recording on my like dining room table or living room table with a few friends in this microphone that was actually never working the entire time.
Oh no!
It was like $15. What was picking it up was the actual laptop microphone.
Right.
And so through that, it was like you can hear the sirens. We're in Chicago right now.
We are.
This is I flew out to thank you for the private jet with all your YouTube money.
Oh yeah.
And
all my cheddar.
So anyway, I after a while realized that I need to like possibly invest, and if I'm going to do this, I should probably do a little. So we bought a new laptop because the old one was just sluggish. Mm-hmm. Then it was, well, let's buy microphones. Before that, though, I was at a living room table when we moved into this house. I was talking to one of my friends, Bobby, and he's like, people will rent storage, like heated storage spaces to record their podcasts. It's like, well, why is that? And he goes, because you just open the garage door, walk right in, everything's set up, and you just sit down and go, and it's warm and things aren't getting damaged. So I said, that's great. And I looked at my garage and I'm like, I've got a room like that.
Yeah.
And so this was the storage room, had a big bench, had a bunch of my Christmas tubs and my decoration. Cleared them all out, found a tub that my mom and dad had kept of all my posters, posted. Then I started painting. And then I bought 2 microphones, realized I needed a mixer, bought a mixer, and from there just kind of kept building and building. Then I got a sponsorship with Coal Street Brewery. He gave me cash because he was wanting to invest because he was going to do a podcast with me, which he does. It's called Brew Ha Ha Monday mornings. And then the Garage Night guys, they brought in a poker table because I was thinking we were recording during the pandemic and I want to kind of keep things spaced, 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Well, what better than just doing your own little poker table?
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. So there you go. That the quality. Oh, I wanted to ask you this.
Oh.
Okay. Quality. When you start out and you start looking at, you're young, right? You're young. You're just trying to afford.
I'd like to think so.
You're trying to afford things. No, you're not young now, but I meant earlier.
Okay. Sorry, I was grasping at that one.
Oh, why, thank you. No, when you're young, you're like going to the dollar store. You're buying the cheap tool sets. You're buying the things that, just because you don't have money. Then as you start establishing, getting a career, are you the type of person that has realized that quality is the name of the game.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And so these sponsorships that come through, are you vetting those? Is that one of your things as well? Is that you're not just going to, it's not going to be the cheapo tool set. You're actually going to do legit quality type.
Well, so so I had a tool company reach out to me and wanted me to promote their line of tools, and they sent me products that I tried. But in all honesty, the difficult thing is they're all battery powered, and if you buy a battery powered thing, the technology's in the battery, and the cost is in the battery, and so I didn't feel right like promoting their product without actually having 2 or 3
Using
seasons.
it,
2 or 3 seasons under your belt and make sure the battery actually lasts. So I had to turn that one down. But I have some big name companies that want me to promote their stuff, and it makes sense. And so we'll see what ends up happening with them. But I have to make sure. And so there's a certain company that's come up with this website that's supposed to help people fix things. And without giving away too much, they and I just said, is it up and running? Can I try it? What's it look like? I don't know what the response time is. It sounds good, And then I have a tire company too that wants me to, and it's like, I don't know. I personally haven't used this particular tire, so I don't know, and so I have to be careful with that. But at the same time, I also got to figure out what's next for me, because I probably have to figure out the future of my job, because it's just too hard. It's taxing on me to try to juggle so many things, so I can't focus. And I think if I really focused on that, how do I could make a living at it. And I think another way I can present it too is that these people, because this is true, I've had these people reach out to me and say, we love what you're doing. We'd like to support you. So that when they word it that way, where they want to kind of, get behind you, rather than it be something. So I did do a video. Can I mention their name? Video that actually sponsored one of my videos.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the Habit Burger.
Yeah.
They flew me down to LA, and just a very feel good thing to, and then I met with a master chef in his backyard. We grilled together. Then we went to the Boys and Girls Club in LA and cooked them all burgers, or the Habit Burger.
Oh, was this during like Father's Day weekend or the weekend before? Right before.
Yeah. So, because when they reached out to me, I was like, what am I going to do with Habit Burger? I don't know. But cool people, just very, very cool. Very, we just want to support what you're doing. We thought of this idea, and because I was thinking, am I going to wear a Habit Burger hat? What am I going to do?
Right.
I don't want to turn into a walking billboard, but I also understand that they're putting money in. So I thought that was the best idea ever. For how to promote it. It was just, and it was fun. They flew me down, and it was just a natural thing. And that's the type of sponsorships I hope to do. I would love to be able to visit places and kind of just say, and then also do something where you're giving back, right? We gave back to the Boys and Girls Club.
Are people sending you a bunch of stuff, and what do you do with the stuff that do you have to send it back, or do you like?
Well, some people just send me stuff, and then some people ask, "Can we send you stuff?" And then, so I just recently had somebody wanting to send me stuff, and then I'm like, "Well, I have to try it." I don't know. I don't want to turn into somebody. Oh, look what I got, and promote
Let's
it.
have a garage sale every weekend.
Yeah,
just selling the stuff people send you.
Yeah, I want to do stuff that makes sense for people. Because again, I got to go back to the very beginning. What was I doing this for? I'm trying to do it to help people. I don't want to turn into a billboard. But here's another thing I will say about sponsorships too. I had people early on say, I feel like you're selling me stuff, and no dad would sell something to their kid. Well, wait a second. Slow down. DeWalt drill.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't ever actually even sponsor me, they're just a good drill.
Right.
It's a good drill. And if Kyle came to me and said, Dad, what kind of drill should I buy? Well, this one has served me well.
Here you go.
Here you go. Right. So a sponsorship, if it's something I feel good about, I have no problem telling my kids about it. Why would you not?
Yeah, you do. And that's what my dad does too. In fact, my dad, he's actually borrowed a couple of my things and done some videos for you. And then we'll bring him back. And I'm like, sweet. Like, I think he showed how to mix. Or what was he? No, it was gloves. It was like spray for gloves. I don't know. There's some things
he talked about that.
Yeah, there's some couple things. So I got the benefit of that, which is nice.
Good.
Holly is going to be upset if I don't at least offer her couch to you. I know that you're a big couch guy. You don't just toss them in the dumpster. You keep them. If she were to sponsor you with couch, would you take the couch?
Absolutely not. I don't even need to see it.
Fair. That's fair. That is super fair. All right. Well, it's been nice having you.
Yeah.
Is there anything more that you wanted to kind of get out there? We can have you back in like whenever.
Yeah.
We can talk about some things. I would love to pitch myself real quick. Okay.
All right.
I could be your manager, and you would have.
Oh, I didn't know where this was going.
This was serious. I was just a serious.
Okay.
Okay.
You could be my manager. Yep.
I could make you trillions of dollars.
Wow.
With my decision making, with you and me. We get Christine out of here, though. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You've seen my fantasy football managerial skills, I feel.
Yeah, that's not.
Typically, it's me trying to steal as many Steelers from you as possible during the draft, which actually helps you because you were like, oh, I wanted that guy. And then somehow that guy breaks halfway through the season, and then you're like, "Oh, good. I'm glad you stole that from me." And you're sitting in the top rankings, and I'm usually like 2-14. But you mentioned something last episode about how you did what someone like had their best. What happened last season? There's something where you had a really good game and somebody else came along. And...
Well, so here's the thing, and this is Travis. So this is typical Travis. So you guys will all know this. You'll recognize this. So we were playing in the playoffs, and I was actually ahead of you. But it looked like, oh, I'm gonna
just walk
and
over.
And you had Lamar Jackson.
Yes,
though, and he went out of the game.
Oh, yes.
He went out of the
he
game.
Had to go poop.
And it came out later that he actually had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But so so he came out of the game. You quickly changed your name of your team to Born Under a Bad Sign or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you gave up. You thought you lost.
I'm done.
And lo and behold, Lamar Jackson came back in,
like
threw a touchdown pass, and I lost. Oh, that was so painful. I was like, yes, he's out of the game. I won.
Oh man, I forgot about that. Yeah, no, I was so mad. I remember where I was at. I'll tell my because I'm trying to get my dad to get involved. He will never get involved.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, the trash talk and the team names and all that stuff is the best. That's what makes it fun.
It is pretty fun.
It's also fun that everyone can make the playoffs as well.
That is one thing we do. We have a 10-league team and 8 teams make the playoffs.
It's like,
but I don't know. It kind of keeps people involved.
I agree.
You know, because I have played in other leagues where people realize they're out of the playoffs and they just stop playing.
They stop playing.
Well, it's like, come on,
right.
You know.
Right.
So, and because it is family,
yeah,
we're kind of doing it for fun. It keeps people involved longer.
Right. And Kyle's out this year though.
He decided to.
This was it.
Yeah,
hung him up.
Yep. So Ben's filling in for him.
And then does he have a clause where he can come back in next? Because I feel like we could always expand this to 12.
We had talked about that this year.
Yeah.
But then when Kyle stepped out, then Ben decided to
jump in.
Yeah.
Okay. So. All right. Well, we're gonna miss you, Kyle. And anyway, we're gonna do our shout outs real quick. Okay. We ready to do some shout outs?
I should have been prepared for shout outs.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do my Patreons. I'm gonna rattle these off, but then I'm gonna do another one. So obviously I thank Cole Street Brewery as well as Bordeaux Wine Bar and Mazatlan. Thank you for your guys' sponsorships. Guys, please go there and support. Mention the podcast. Tag yourself in there. You guys get your discounts there. And then the Patreons. Go check out Patreon if you want. We have different tiers, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50. You get a t-shirt. And my Uncle Rob is the one that made these t-shirts and these sweatshirts.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some more. I'm glad that you're here because I got to talk to you about some of these things.
Okay.
Anyway, so and then Patreons: Veronica Lara, Homer Robertson, Jared Skelly, Shekinah Sarver, Anon Aber, Ira Potter, Amanda Keating, Cassie Spencer, Desi B, Seth Loop, Casey Scott, Adam Kenny, Eric Madrid, Holly Graff, The Couch, and Kellen Hall. Appreciate you guys. And then here's my shout out to my Uncle Rob. Okay? I'm giving you a shout out. Okay?
Okay.
You have taught me so much that we couldn't even fill a podcast. You really have more than tie and a tie, more than, and this isn't a joke. You've been there. And we obviously, anytime we mention God is involved, obviously, in this as well. Mm-hmm. But you were a big part of my spiritual life because of how you had your own, internal. You had your own faith going, and you invited my parents along in that. I would say my dad was involved in that to come to the church, attend with you, Bible studies. So that kind of shaped my early life, going to those types of things and going to Bible college down the road and all that. So that was more of an influencer. So you were an influencer before influencers were influencers. Wow. There you go. Mm-hmm. Also, you taught me back in the day, Travis, you're going to worry about 2 W's for the rest of your life. Don't worry about them now when you're 13, 14. That's work because I wanted money, and women because I wanted love. You said you got 2 W's. Just chill right now. You'll have the rest of your life to worry about it. Just enjoy what you got right now. 12-year-old, 13-year-old, go play, go have fun, go shoot hoops. Don't stress on those other 2 things. And that's true. I completely agree with that. Tell Kane that all the time too as well. Just enjoy the time. You're going to be working in no time. You're going to be in a relationship in no time. Just chill. Yeah. And then also, you also taught me that sometimes if you just happen to have a cell phone and you just make a video, you could somehow get 3 million people to watch it.
I'm still amazed too, so anyway.
Yeah, no, but I was talking about that, but anyway, those are some major things. So anyway, Shout out to you. Thank you for coming on here. I really appreciate you being on here. So.
Yeah, you bet. And since we're talking about shout outs, I do have to call out or shout out a couple of my sponsors recently. So Lubriderm, I'm going to be having a Lubriderm commercial coming up. Kind of in my. And Christine uses Lubriderm, and so
is that a shampoo?
No, it's a lotion for your hands.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, and I've always thought good things with Lubriderm. I've always associated, and they're one of the ones that reached out to me in that way. We would like to support you. Cool. How can we work together?
Nice.
And then American Standard, I'm going to be doing how to change a toilet and actually how to put in a bidet toilet seat.
Really?
Too. I'll be doing that with American Standard. Who else? Staybill. I got another Staybill video that I'm going to be doing too. I did one with your dad.
Yeah.
And then they got another product. So those are coming up. Shout out to them.
Sweet. Well, shout out to the sponsors. Appreciate you guys. And I can't wait for you to install the bidet into my new house here. So appreciate that.
Yeah, perfect.
That's going to be good. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. Go check out the Dad How Do I YouTube channel. Comment, like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Do what you need to do to share. Also do that. Please for Full Body Cast. Please do that for us. All right. Thanks so much for being on again, Uncle Robin. Maybe we'll have you on in the future. You've passed the initial interviews here, so I think I'd be back.
Well, I was probably the most nervous for this podcast. Could you tell?
Yeah.
Could you tell? Yeah.
No, I legit was nervous. I actually was nervous this morning.
Really?
I was. It wasn't nervous about not talking to you, but it was just the fact that you were going to be able to talk to me.
Oh,
so I was nervous for you.
I was nervous where you're going to take this. I think it was all good.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone. And thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on, Uncle Rob.
You bet. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Talk to you guys later. Have a good week. Bye.
Oh, bye. Was I supposed to say bye?
Oh, before I forget, before we shut things down, book giveaway. How do you want to do the book giveaway?
So you can come up with whatever contest you want.
Okay.
And I got to come back here in 2 days. So I'll bring it and I can personally sign it to whoever wins it if you want. If you can run your contest that quick.
No.
Otherwise, you can't run it that quick.
Well,
okay. Because this will be past that anyway. That's a good point. But then I have to come back to get the dogs.
This isn't going to get released in the next 2 days. This is probably going to be within September.
Oh, in September. Okay. Yeah. I was just going to say, because I got to come back to get the dogs on September 4th. So would the contest run before then?
So what we'll do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about the book. Okay. So, yeah, the book giveaway. What we're going to do, we did this with Mazatlan. We shared a picture of Mazatlan, and then we randomly drew a picture. Okay. Not drew a picture. Drew it. What am I trying to say here? We did a drawing. We didn't draw. We did a drawing. Anyway, we shared. They got $25 gift card to Mazatlan. I'm going to do the same thing. When I post this interview, this episode, or I may post the picture of his book with a, hey, share this to enter into the lottery, the drawing. It sounds so weird saying it's a drawing. Anyway, to enter into it, you got to share the Facebook post. And then I'll give it like a week, and then I'll look through all the shares, throw them in a hat, pull it out. You get a signed autographed copy of Uncle Rob. It's not going to say Uncle Rob, probably, though. It's probably going to say Rob County.
And I could personalize it. We can figure out a way to get you a personalized, so whoever wins, I can write it to them.
Sounds good. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's what we'll do. We'll do a post, and then we'll share it just like we did for the Mazatlan giveaway. We're doing it for this book. Dad, How Do I? And what's the title of it? Is it Dad? What's it? Dad, How Do I? Mm-hmm. There you go. Volume 1.
Practical dadvice for everyday tasks and successful living. Because there are a bunch of how-tos at the backside, or back end of it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great week. Great having you on, Uncle Rob.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Travis.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Take
care, everyone. Was that an echo?
Is Echo?
Echo?
A podcast that you never knew you needed. With interviews from people you have never met, or maybe you have once or twice. Asking questions and knowing more than you want to know about them.